Right now, all eyes are on Rangers as the club moves closer to what could be one of its most important defensive shakeups in recent memory. Behind the scenes, negotiations are accelerating, and if everything goes according to plan, we could be about to witness a pivotal shift in the squad structure. The stakes are high. With a crucial run of fixtures ahead, both domestically and in Europe, the balance of the team could be drastically influenced by moves being finalized as we speak. And right at the heart of this whirlwind is a young defender who's quickly become one of the hottest properties in Spanish football. His name, Nobel Mendy. At just 20 years old, the Senegalese-born centre-back has already caught the attention of top-tier scouts across Europe. But it's Rangers who have made the most decisive push. While other clubs, including La Liga side Rayo Vallecano, have been keeping tabs on the situation, it's the Ibrox outfit that's taken the lead, reportedly entering advanced talks and tabling a serious bid worth around £3.5 million. For anyone who's been following the club's transfer strategy under Russell Martin, this move aligns perfectly with a clear philosophy. Invest in young, high-potential talent that can not only make an immediate impact, but also develop into long-term assets. And Mendy fits that profile to a T. A left-sided defender with the kind of pace, positioning, and composure on the ball that's rare for his age. He would not only provide depth to the backline, but could also solve what's become a lingering issue at the club: stability on that left flank. Reports from Spain suggest the player has already made his decision. Despite interest from his home league and other European clubs, Mendy is believed to be fully focused on making the switch to Rangers. In fact, Real Betis sporting director Manu Fajardo didn't hold back during a press conference when asked about Mendy's future. He openly confirmed that 2 major offers had been received and stressed that the player's own intentions would be decisive in the final stages of the negotiation. And based on all signs, those intentions seem crystal clear. Rangers are not just chasing this deal, they're pushing hard to close it fast. The expectation is that Mendy could be announced as the 10th signing of a very active transfer window, one that's already seen significant comings and goings. But this one feels different. This feels like a move designed not just to plug a gap, but to anchor a position that's been in flux for far too long. And speaking of that position, we need to talk about the other side of this developing story. The likely departure of Jefté, the Brazilian left back who arrived at Ibrox with big expectations, but now seems set for a swift exit. When he signed last year from Fluminense, following a loan stint in Europe, the feeling around the club was one of genuine excitement. His attacking qualities, flair going forward, and ability to deliver from wide areas made him an intriguing prospect. But the reality on the pitch has been mixed at best. While he did show flashes of his offensive abilities, his defensive work often came under scrutiny. Inconsistencies, lapses in positioning, and struggles to deal with the physicality of the Scottish game opened the door for competition. And that door was pushed wide open when Max Aarons, a natural right back, was deployed in his position. At the start of the current season, despite Jefté managing to regain his spot in recent fixtures, notably against Victoria Pleasant and Dundee, the overall consensus is that the experiment hasn't worked as hoped. Now, reports coming out of Brazil are painting a very clear picture. A preliminary verbal agreement is said to be in place between Rangers and Palmeiras, the reigning champions of Brazilian football, that would see Jefté return home on a permanent deal. The structure of the transfer would include a 5-year contract for the player, with both sides looking to finalize terms quickly. In fact, it's been reported that a key meeting took place in London just this week, involving representatives from both clubs, and the outcome could officially draw a line under Jefté's short spell in Glasgow. If all goes through as expected, the Brazilian would leave Ibrox after just 56 appearances, many of which left fans and coaching staff divided over his long-term suitability. When he first arrived under Felipe Clement, with Neil Copping still heavily involved in recruitment, there was optimism that he could grow into a vital part of the squad. Both men praised his potential and framed the signing as part of a long-term vision for the club. But that vision has clearly changed under the leadership of Russell Martin. Martin has already admitted publicly that Aarons, despite his willingness to fill in, is not a long-term solution on the left. And with both Jefté And fellow fullback Redilma is now being linked with exits, it's clear that a more permanent answer is needed. That's where Mendy potentially fits in perfectly. Young, left-sided, defensively sound, and tactically intelligent. He ticks all the boxes. And perhaps most importantly, he seems genuinely eager to be part of this project. What once looked like the start of a promising Ibrox career for Jefté now feels more like a brief chapter, one that could be closed with a handshake and a farewell flight back to South America. His early moments in a Rangers shirt show glimpses of what might have been, but the consistency never followed. At just 20 years old, he still has time to revive his career, and a return to Brazil might be exactly what he needs. Palmeiras, with their structure and ambition, could provide the right environment for him to reset and relaunch. For Rangers, however, the challenge continues. The left-back position remains a puzzle yet to be fully solved, and with high-stakes matches coming thick and fast, including the upcoming Premier Sports Cup clash against Alo Athletic and a massive Champions League playoff against Club Brugge, decisions need to be made quickly and decisively. The Mendy deal, if completed, would represent more than just another transfer. It would be a declaration of intent. The broader picture here is about squad evolution. Rangers are in the midst of a transformation under Martin's stewardship, and every move in this window is a piece of that puzzle. Bringing in young, hungry players like Mendy while parting ways with those who haven't quite fit the system reflects a more deliberate, forward-thinking approach. It's not just about this season, it's about building something sustainable, and that's why the next few days could be so crucial. As contracts are finalized and paperwork completed, what's really happening is the shaping of Rangers' identity moving forward. Are they just patching holes for the short term, or are they finally committing to a cohesive, long-term plan? Mendy's potential arrival suggests the latter. As for Jefté, his departure, while disappointing for some, might just be the best outcome for all involved. Sometimes talent alone isn't enough. The right environment, the right system, the right timing, they all play a part. And in Glasgow, the pieces never quite clicked. Perhaps now, with a return to Brazil on the horizon, he can find his rhythm again and remind everyone why there was so much excitement about him in the first place. Meanwhile, at Ibrox, the show goes on. The fixtures don't wait. The fans don't wait. And the expectations never drop. Russell Martin knows that better than anyone. And as the transfer window heads into its final stretch, every decision he makes, every player he brings in or lets go, will be measured against the results to come. The pressure is real, but so is the opportunity. And just as the dust begins to settle on one major development, another potential bombshell starts to gain traction. This time, the name causing a stir is none other than Gio Reyna, a player once hailed as the crown jewel of American football, a talent so highly rated that his early rise through the ranks of Borussia Dortmund had many believing he would be the next great export from the United States. But now, that hype has dulled, his minutes on the pitch have dried up, and whispers of a much-needed career reboot are growing louder. In an unexpected twist, Rangers are emerging as a serious contender to be the club that offers him that fresh start. And the idea is gaining traction not only in the media, but among people who know exactly what it's like to be in Reyna's shoes. Enter Freddie Adu, a name that still sparks debate in football circles. A man who once carried the weight of an entire nation's hopes before his own career went sideways. He knows all too well the burden that comes with being labeled a prodigy. And according to Adu, Reyna's situation is following an all too familiar script. Huge expectations, stints at a massive club, but ultimately stalling due to lack of playing time. For Adu, the solution is simple. Gio needs to get out of Dortmund, and he needs to do it now. It's not hard to understand where Adu's coming from. Reyna's stats over the past season paint a picture of a player stuck in limbo. Just 1 goal and 2 assists in limited appearances, a far cry from the dynamic midfielder who once seemed destined to lead the United States into a new footballing era. Injuries, coaching changes, and a stacked Dortmund squad have all contributed to his fading role, but the clock is ticking. With the next World Cup taking place on home soil in just under a year, Reyna can't afford to sit on the sidelines any longer. That's where Rangers come in. It might not be the destination many would have predicted, but it might just be exactly what he needs. A club where he wouldn't just be another squad player, he'd be the centerpiece of the midfield. A place with a rich history, a passionate fan base, and a platform that, while perhaps smaller than the Bundesliga, offers consistent game time and high-stakes matches, European nights at Ibrox, intense domestic rivalries, and the pressure to deliver week in and week out. It's a footballing environment that demands everything from its players, and that might be just the thing to unlock Reyna's full potential. Adu has gone on record saying exactly that. In an interview, he made it clear that Gio's development hinges not on training sessions or sitting on the bench at a big club, but on playing regularly in a team that trusts him. And for Adu, Rangers fits the bill perfectly. He spoke passionately about Reyna's qualities, his vision, his touch, his ability to pick apart a defense, and how those skills are being wasted in his current situation. More importantly, Adu believes that Gio's best version comes out when he's given freedom, when he's not constantly looking over his shoulder, worried about making a mistake that will see him subbed off or dropped for the next game. That kind of environment, one where a young talent can express himself without fear, is exactly what Adu sees at Rangers, and he may have a point. We've seen it time and time again. Players who leave the bright lights of top-tier European clubs for slightly smaller stages and find their footing again. Think of the likes of Joe Aribo or Ryan Kent, who used their time at Ibrox as a springboard. Now imagine Gio Reyna doing the same, but with even more natural ability and even higher expectations. Of course, all of this remains speculation. For now, there's no official confirmation that Rangers have entered talks with Dortmund, no reports of bids being lodged or personal terms being discussed. But football moves fast, and when players like Reyna become available, clubs act quickly. The buzz is building, and the idea is being taken seriously in both Europe and across the Atlantic. For Rangers, the timing couldn't be more interesting. The squad is in transition, with Russell Martin continuing to put his stamp on the team. The focus on youth and potential is clear. We've already talked about the likes of Nobel Mendy and the reshaping of the defensive line. Now imagine adding a playmaker like Reyna to the mix. Someone who can carry the ball through midfield, link up with the front line, and add a spark that's been missing in certain games. It would be a statement signing, no doubt. Not just in terms of talent, but in terms of ambition. Bringing in a player of Reyna's caliber, even if it's on a loan deal, would send a message across Scottish football and beyond. That Rangers are not just rebuilding, they're aiming to climb, to dominate, and to make waves in Europe again. And if the player is motivated, hungry, and desperate to prove himself again, which Reyna surely is, then you've got the makings of a partnership that benefits everyone involved. For Reyna, it would be a lifeline, a chance to remind the world, and maybe even himself, of the talent that once had fans calling him the future of the US national team. And for Rangers, it's the kind of calculated risk that could pay off massively. There's always a gamble in taking on a player who's lost his rhythm, but there's also a massive reward if you're the club that helps him rediscover it. From a tactical point of view, Reyna fits the kind of system Martin is trying to build. A creative midfielder with the technical skill to unlock defenses and the intelligence to operate between the lines. Add him into a setup that includes high-energy wide players, overlapping fullbacks, and a striker capable of finishing chances. And suddenly, you've got a team with real attacking teeth. And let's not forget the sentimental side of the story. Gio is the son of Claudio Reyna, a player who is still fondly remembered at Ibrox. Claudio's time at the club in the late 90s may have been relatively short, but it left a lasting impression. Seeing his son wear the same colors, walk through the same tunnel, and experience the same atmosphere would be a powerful narrative. Football loves a story, and this would be one for the books. That legacy, that connection to the past could be another factor in making this move appealing to both parties. For Gio, it's more than just football. It's history, it's family, and it's a chance to write his own chapter where his father once stood. That kind of motivation can be underestimated. Still, for all the excitement, questions remain. Would Dortmund be willing to let him go? Would they prefer a permanent deal or a loan? Would Reyna himself be ready to embrace a new challenge in a league that's very different from the one he's used to? These are the variables that will shape the outcome. But make no mistake, if there's a genuine opportunity to bring Reyna to Glasgow, Rangers will have to act quickly and decisively, and they'll have competition. A player of Reyna's profile is never short on suitors. Clubs in England, Spain, and even MLS will no doubt be watching closely. But what Rangers can offer that others might not is clarity, a defined role, a passionate fan base, a coaching staff that's committed to giving young players the minutes they need to grow, and a platform, both in Scotland and in Europe, that demands excellence. As the transfer window edges closer to its final weeks, this is exactly the kind of story that captures the imagination. A young star in need of revival, a club rebuilding with purpose, and a connection through footballing. Heritage that brings the past and present together in a way only this game can. Whether or not the deal materializes remains to be seen, but the fact that it's even being discussed tells you something about where Rangers are heading, about the type of player they're targeting, and about the belief that Ibrox can still be a place where talent thrives, where careers are reignited, and where the roar of the crowd can turn potential into something real, something lasting, something unforgettable. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. The streets of Glasgow are buzzing with a rumour that could shake Scottish football to its very core. Former Manchester United goalkeeper David De Gea is said to have put pen to paper with Rangers in a move that few saw coming, but everyone is talking about. According to whispers circling both Ibrox and various media circles, the Spanish shot stopper, known for his cat-like reflexes and remarkable one-on-one saves, has reportedly agreed to don the famous blue jersey for the upcoming season. The idea of De Gea patrolling the penalty area in front of the Copland Road stand is sending shivers down the spines of rival supporters, while Rangers fans dare to imagine their team fortified by a man once considered the best in the world. The talk in local pubs and on supporters' buses suggests that this is not just idle gossip, but a genuine coup, fueled by sightings of what some claim was De Gea himself arriving at Glasgow Airport under a discreet security detail. The notion of a global star with over a decade of Premier League experience now guarding the goalposts at Ibrox has stirred a mixture of disbelief and giddy excitement across the city. If the chatter proves true, this signing could represent one of the most ambitious moves in Rangers' modern history, perhaps even rivaling the arrivals of legends from previous decades. Those close to the club hint that this is part of a grander plan by the board to ensure European competitiveness and domestic dominance in the coming years. De Gea's wealth of experience in high-pressure environments, from Champions League knockout stages to intense Manchester derbies, could bring a psychological edge that money alone cannot buy. Observers have noted that Rangers' recent campaigns have sometimes faltered in crucial moments, with defensive lapses costing them dearly in tight matches. The rumored arrival of De Gea might be precisely the remedy for those shortcomings. Glasgow's red half, meanwhile, reportedly views this development with a mixture of irritation and unease, knowing full well the impact a keeper of his caliber could have on the old firm balance of power. The Spanish international's potential debut in a Rangers shirt would undoubtedly be circled on calendars not just in Scotland but across Europe, as football fans tune in to see whether he can translate his storied career into Scottish success. What adds spice to the speculation is the mystery surrounding the deal's finer details. No official statement has emerged from either Rangers or De Gea's representatives, which only fuels the sense of intrigue. Insiders claim that negotiations have been ongoing for months, conducted quietly to avoid alerting other clubs who might swoop in with tempting offers. There is even talk of a substantial signing bonus and a performance-linked clause that could see De Gea's wages rise significantly if he helps Rangers secure silverware. Pundits have been quick to point out that despite leaving Manchester United over a year ago, De Gea has maintained peak physical condition, training privately and reportedly turning down lucrative offers from clubs in the Middle East. Some sources suggest his motivation lies in the challenge of proving himself in a new footballing environment, where the atmosphere is raw, the weather unforgiving, and the rivalry unmatched. If he steps onto the Ibrox pitch, he will not only face the roar of adoring fans, but also the weight of expectation from a club that demands nothing less than trophies. Rangers supporters are already imagining the scenes that could unfold. Louis Chea's towering figure in the box during a heated Old Firm clash, stretching across goal to tip a curling free kick past the post, or commanding his backline with the authority of a seasoned leader. For many, this is more than just a signing, it's a statement of intent. The rumor has sparked countless debates on radio shows and social media feeds, with some questioning whether the veteran keeper can adapt to the physical, fast-paced nature of Scottish football. Others argue that his vast experience will make the transition seamless, and that his presence alone could inspire younger players to raise their standards. Meanwhile, bookmakers have reportedly slashed the odds on Rangers lifting the league trophy next season, reflecting a surge of optimism among punters who believed De Gea's arrival would be transformative. The romance of the story, an elite goalkeeper seeking a new challenge in a passionate footballing city, adds to its allure, ensuring that every new scrap of information is seized upon by an eager public. Until the club makes an official announcement, this saga will remain in the realm of speculation, but its impact is already being felt. The buzz around Glasgow is palpable, and even rival fans admit that the prospect of De Gea between the sticks would make Rangers a tougher proposition. For now, the question is not whether the rumor exists, it's whether the dream will materialize into reality. If De Gea truly has signed, his unveiling would draw cameras and headlines from across the footballing world, bringing a surge of attention to the Scottish Premiership rarely seen since the days of household name imports. Whether he can handle the wet, windy nights in Paisley or the raucous reception at Celtic Park remains to be seen. But one thing is certain: the possibility of such a move has already captured imaginations far beyond the confines of Ibrox. In the meantime, fans will scour the news, watch the skies for incoming flights, and whisper to each other in hushed, hopeful tones. Could the great David De Gea really be our new wall in Glasgow? Greetings, fans! Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.